back with another one, part three to Project 2025. And it's turning out that it's not so bad. I'm waiting on my book to arrive. I've been sharing the talking points from the site, and anything that's there is actually not negative. But we see the Democratic Party struggling right now for its existence. You know, they're running the same play on Trump's members. So we're going to go basically talk a little bit about Project 2025, and then we're going to have a discussion, not a well a discussion, because you guys go in the chat, and we have a good time over here. So if you got any questions or concerns, put it in the chat. Try your best to stay positive. We know that there's trolls out there. We expect those, but we want to basically iron sharpens iron, and we want to have a cohesive conversation moving forward. So Project 2025, as Trump cabinet selections, we're just going to go over three today, and then I want to really hone in about America. Like, what are we? Okay, let's be honest with ourselves. What is America? America is a constitutional republic. Okay, but somehow, some way, it was a democratic republic. Somehow, some way, we created two branches of government that fight and rival each other. And through history, the Confederates fought against the Union, and all of these things that's going on. But moving forward, this presidential election, when the American people decided that we want a republic because 10 million voters decided to stay home, 10 million Democratic registered voters decided to stay home, which allowed Trump to actually win the popular vote as well as the electoral college. Then there were actually 3.6 million registered Democrats that voted down ballot, meaning, somebody outside of the Republican Democratic Party. There were 7 states that didn't have a write-in candidate, but the other states that did have a write-in candidate, Jesus Christ came in first place, second place, and I'm waiting on the numbers to be absolute. Mickey Mouse came in second place, and no pun intended, in the Carolinas and the Eastern Seaboard, these nuts came in third place with a write-in candidate. So we have 13.6 million registered Democrats decided not to support the party of slavery, not to support the party of Jim Crow, not to support the party of mass incarceration, just to keep it simple. So now we got to understand, moving forward, as nonpartisan independents, as former Democrats delivered themselves from the burning house, and that burning house is the Democratic Party. So now that we're disassociating ourselves with the Democratic Party, we're not turning to join the Republican Party, because we were the Democratic liabilities and still the Democratic slaves till this day. Because in the state of California, Proposition 6 was on the ballot, and Proposition 6 was to pretty much end slavery in the state of California and upholds human rights for everyone. And I'm reading it directly out of my voter book. Proposition 6 was to end slavery in California, uphold human rights and dignity for everyone. It replaces involuntary servitude, and it supports and aligns with the national to seek a constitutional amendment, meaning an amendment of the 13th Amendment. But in the state of California, the liberal state in California voted no. So therefore, we are still documented as slaves, not only in the state of California, but it's in our Constitution as well. So why would any human being or any formerly known Democrat who knows this would actually continue to support the party of slavery? Because they voted no. And then, just to keep it a buck with you, Proposition 3 was on the ballot, and Proposition 3, a yes vote, in Proposition 3 will remove all rules for marriage, opening the door for child marriages, incest, polygamy, and it changes the Constitution, even though same-sex marriage is already on the books. By making moms and dads optional, it put children, and that's basically was Proposition 3, and it's right here. Okay, Proposition 3. So they voted yes for Proposition 3. So in the state of California, Proposition 3, they're removing all rules for marriage, opening the door to child marriages, incest, and polygamy. Okay. Though it was a constitutional right for a man to marry a man or a woman to marry a woman. Okay. That was pretty much how far it should have went. But now they're making moms and dads optional. And this is straight out of my book. Okay. And why would any God fearing individual or any human being that has morals want to be associated with the particular party as a whole? And Jerry put in the comments, God for Trump. And Jerry, I'm actually on the same sheet of music with you. I'm not I'm a nonpartisan independent. I'm not a Republican. But it seems that Trump is turning out David. Okay. And David slayed Goliath. So Trump slayed the Democratic giant who was progressively trying to move our nation into a Sodom and Gomorrah type atmosphere. But somehow, some way, the American people stood up and it didn't happen. So now that it didn't happen, our job is to rebrand ourselves as nonpartisan independents, work with the Republican Party to make sure that this country maintains being a republic, because the original founders with Benjamin Franklin, when the Constitution was written, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, a God-fearing republic. But somehow, some way, the Democratic Party, has rebranded themselves over and over again and somehow attached themselves with minority groups. And the minority groups that they attach themselves to now are the LBGQ, the trans community, the gay community, the women's lib community. Okay, but back in the 60s, they attached themselves to the civil rights movement. And the civil rights movement was the catalyst to pretty much, get them to the position that they are in today. And now that we know that, and now that we're following the data, now that we're following the truth, this is why the black race is disassociating itself from the Democratic Party as a whole. And the ACLU is about to be issued a cease and desist letter by associating the black race with their pronouns. Okay, the cisgenders, the, she, he, and all of that, because at the end of the day, we truly support one of the mandates when it comes to Project 2025. And we do support the President-elect Donald Trump. On the first day that he's in office, he said he's going to executive action to only recognize men and women, and it's at birth. And we are down with that. And as a black race, we have to speak up about it, because I've been talking to the youth in the community, and the youth in the community is pretty much angry and heartbroken at my generation, because they said we sat back and we were silent. And we did not even speak up, and we allowed these things to happen and come into fruition. And I issued a formal apology, but we're going to put out an apology letter to the generations after Generation X, because we were hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and now we are running amok and we don't even know what to do. And we lost all our power because we have associated ourselves with the party of slavery, with the party of Jim Crow, with the party of mass incarceration. I could go on, but these are actual facts. But why would anybody who believes in a higher power associate themselves with a political party, especially in the state of California, who passed and voted yes for Proposition 3, which removes all rules for marriage, open for child marriages, incest, polygamy, okay, and by making moms and dads optional? Why would anybody want to be associated with that party? And this is why I call it the Great Separation. This is why and then they voted no to end slavery in California. Okay, but in my book, there were actually no opponents on it, but they went in and voted no to end slavery, because a yes vote would have pretty much end slavery in California. Okay, and it would uphold human rights and dignity for everyone. Okay, and it aligns with the national or the federal level to amend the 13th Amendment. And what they did and what they're doing, I don't even understand, but they're opening the door for Donald Trump to be probably one of the great presidents in American history. Because if Donald Trump basically, signs a constitutional amendment, okay, and take the criminalization clause of the Constitution, he will go down in American history as the greatest president known to man. And one thing that we are going to do is, from a grassroots perspective, is do our job and do our due diligence as human beings, and for the first to hold the sitting president accountable. Now, I've seen Clinton, I've seen Obama, And, as a man, I thought the Congressional Black Caucus was looking out for the black community. I thought the NAA was looking out for the black community. And then I even thought Black Lives Matters was looking out for the community. But all they did was set us up to fail and allow other organizations, one of them being the ACLU, to pretty much prosper beyond measure and attach themselves to what we will call Planned Parenthood, which is one of the major Democratic donors. And what they're up to. Okay. And that's exterminating babies. So we don't want to be associated with that. But as nonpartisan independents, a part of the strong coalition in the sum of 13.6 million formerly known registered Democrats who did not show up at the poll or vote for the Democratic president, we got a strong coalition. So now that we have democracy is literally expiring, and on the presidential inauguration is literally going to be pushed out the way. Okay, because America is not a democracy. America is a constitutional republic. And I put it in the option if we can keep it, because that's what Benjamin Franklin said when they finished the Constitution. America is a republic if we can keep it. And the Democratic Party is the opposition of the Republic, which is a opposition of America. And at the end of the day, with no morals, they are basically classifying themselves as the Antichrist. And I'm just being honest with you, because the truth is the truth and the truth shall make. So now that we have delivered ourselves from the Democratic Party, we as a people can organize and come together as nonpartisan independents. We don't party no more. And we can hold whatever president in office accountable. And one on a champion, and we're going to make sure that President Trump he's going to be inaugurated. I know he's going to do things on day one, but we're going to we're going to influence. Okay. We're going to lobby. We're going to work with the Republican Party, because we would like President Trump to basically champion the working class. Okay. And on the campaign trail, he mentioned no on tips. So no tax on tips will basically help, the food service industry. Okay. Those are working class individuals. No tax on tips will help the dancers. Okay. You exotic dancers, you individuals that pretty much earn your living off of tips. But President Trump said, and he made a campaign promise that he will do no tax on tips. And you're looking at a man in an organization that's going to go and fight for the rights of you to make sure that the working and middle class has some type of support, because the working and middle class, a step up is rich, and after rich is wealthy. So we want to somehow start working on our generational wealth, but we can't sit back and allow organizations to pretty much eat off the top, and then the bottom eat the crumbs, and then the middle just pay all the bills of America. Okay, so we got to start this working class coalition. And we started, and we are in the numbers of 13.6 million. And we are formally known as Democrats because, like I said, 10 million registered Democrats decided not to show up at the polls in 2024 that showed up at the polls in 2020. 3.6 registered Democrats voted down ballot, meaning they did not vote for the party that they're registered to. So it is what it is. So now we have a voice, okay, and we're not associated with the Democratic Party or any left-wing liberal group or organization, because that's by association. So now we get a chance to do what we're supposed to do: work with the sitting president, respect the Oval Office, and get things done, because Obama was the president of hope and change, and all he did was change the gender of our babies. That's all he did. Didn't change anything. Okay. And even when he left office, he said, do like I did and start a coalition. And we did. And we have a coalition of 13.6 million formerly known Democrats. And it is what it is. So this is how we're going to make sure. And my organization is one that's pretty much spearheading this operation. We're going to make sure that he signs an executive act for no tax on tips. Number 2, no taxes on over. It's a campaign strategy and a campaign promise. And for the first time in our lives, you're going to have the individuals fighting for the rights of the people that's going to make sure that this thing come into fruition. But we don't even stop right there. He also said on the campaign trail and as a campaign promise that that he will support legislation for no tax on SSI, Social Security Insurance. So you got the Democrats talking about they want to take away your Social Security and all that. That's nothing but lies. All lies. He basically said no tax on Social Security. So that means if you're an individual that is a recipient of Social Security, receiving Social Security benefits, you just got a 20% raise on your Social Security benefits twice a month. You get a 20% raise. Wouldn't that help you out at the pump? Okay, wouldn't that help you with the inflation in groceries? Absolutely. And the Democratic Party is so afraid of Project 2025 when Project 2025, one of the bullet points on their website basically says that unleash America's energy so we can reduce energy prices. And that comes with heating, ACs, as well as releasing the pressure at the pump. So it works because America is a republic and we almost lost it. Benjamin Franklin said, it's a republic if we can keep it. And I've seen Democrats basically use that talking point when it comes to democracy, but America is not a democracy. Okay. America could never be, what they say it is, no dictatorship or nothing like that. It is embedded in our Constitution that we are a republic, to the republic for one nation under all. Okay. And in the comments, Quinn said that Black Lives Matter was looking out for themselves. And I got to agree with you on that. Okay. And I'm in the comments right now because we're looking out for themselves. But I believe that they were following their heart and that their intentions was good. But somehow they got played just like the civil rights movement got played. And this is why we cannot associate ourselves with anything outside of a nonpartisan, unbiased, independent group of people that will be working for the human being, so we will be the future of what they will call us the humanitarians. Okay. Sharpton is another extortionist. All individuals that supported the Democratic Party up until this point, pretty much sold their souls. Look at all the celebrities that pretty much took a payment just to actually endorse Harris. And it wasn't even endorsements. It pretty much was to show up. Okay, so tell me why, they blew $1 billion on her campaign and the Democratic convention is literally under scrutiny right now because they are in debt for $20 million. So the Harris campaign literally destroyed democracy. It destroyed the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is beyond repairable and do not resuscitate, because once you lose the support of black men. Okay. Once you lose the support of the black nuclear family, then they lost the brown vote as well, because black and brown kind of rock together because we share communities. So now that the party is over, now it's time to see how we move forward doing what we need to do. Okay. And Sister Smith said Matt Gantz, she said Matt Gaetz, but Gantz dropped out. And I got to look that up, because if he did, then maybe he was guilty of what he, was accused of, and he wanted to just let at the end of the day. So what I'm saying is we are looking at what we call the great separation. The great separation. It feels so good to disassociate ourselves with a political party that has not been nothing but dangerous and treacherous to God's people. When I say God's people, the Democratic Party is the party of slavery. The Democratic Party is the party of the Jim Crow segregated South. The Democratic Party is the party of mass incarceration. And if you did not know, Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill. Okay. Hillary Clinton promoted that crime bill called a super predators. People that look like me, she called me a super predator, said that I wasn't human and I needed to be brought. And I'm on a college campus looking at this in the political science class. I'm sitting back like saying, wow, this is how they feel about us. And then Bill Clinton signed that bill into law. And this is why we have mass incarceration till this day, because based on the federal state constitution, okay, there's a slavery clause there and there's profits in prison. So I got to do the research on that. She said, Sister Smith said Matt Gantz dropped out. Let me see here. Sean has basically said, hopefully can get back to some normality now that Trump's in office. And right now, Sean, You're looking at normality. And the only way we can be normal if we disassociate ourselves with them, their pronouns, because the prophet and the poet Kendrick Lamar said it best. They like us. And at the end of the day, when Kamala Harris basically says we're not going back, we're turning the page, and when they turned the page, said the end. Now we're back to the front of the book, and we have a president-elect who promised on day one through executive action he is going to basically recognize male and female. That's it. Community, the LGBTQ, you guys just lost the T. Okay, so more trans, none of that. It's a wrap. And then the American people are going to make sure they dismantle their entire community. I'm a black man. We do have a black community because they have taken our power. So they have a LGBTQ community, but we don't have a community because in the 60s, in the civil rights era, they turned us to an ethnicity. Okay, we was black and we was proud. Say it loud. Remember James Brown, Black Power and the Black Panthers. What happened to all of that? We connected with the Democratic Party, and then they turned us into an ethnicity, and then they put us in a pot with trans, homosexuals, gays, lesbians, the bisexual, all of that, and then they stirred the pot up, and what happened? So now party's over, because when we turned the page on their democracy, it says the end. Now we at the front of the book, and I'm not going to argue with the Bible. He made male and he made female in the discussion. Okay, we're not even going to argue about those facts. So the American people, the 13.6 million people who did not support the Democratic Party this election, who are registered Democrats, the 10 million who decided to not show up at all, and then the 3.6 million who voted down ballot, this is what we got to do. Okay, we got to follow our God. And since we back in the front of the book and moving forward, male is going to be recognized. So let's go ahead and dismantle the LGBT community as a political branch of government that pretty much fights to have us associated with them. Because the L got to go, because L stands for lesbian. Okay. Now, as a heterosexual male, okay, I'm black. Okay, we can't hide that fact. I love women. So does that make me a lesbian? Yeah, I'm a lesbian too. E, cease and desist. Okay, B stands for black. Okay, and black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian, kinship, meaning it's just one race in the human race. And this is the era where we champion the black race and create the black community. So now we can move on as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So there's no such thing as a bisexual, because if you are a male and you sleep with a male, you are a homosexual, no matter how many wives you got, how many children you got. If you sleep with men, you are a homosexual. No such thing as a bisexual. Okay, but if you want to say bisexual, bi mean two. I've slept in at the same time, and that was called a threesome. So you could call me bi as well. So stop it. So the L is gone. Okay. The B is gone. Now G, we're dawning on the holiday season. And I guarantee you, my church is not going to be the only church you're going to sing Christmas carols. I know it's a pagan holiday, but we celebrate it. It is what it is. So there's a song that says, we're happy and gay. Gay, happy by definition. Okay. I'm happy today. And I'm sure you beautiful people that's on right now are happy as well. So that makes us gay. So that makes us happy. So a lesbian, I love women. Okay. So don't throw that out the box. Okay. Ain't no lesbians. I love women too. Okay. Now, bi, that B stands for black. Okay. There's no such thing as bisexual. If you sleep with man, lies with mankind, lies with a woman, you've committed an abomination. And according to the word, we ain't going to argue about it. Your blood should be upon you. Okay. And it says the same thing for fornication, but it's a loophole for fornication, because it says if a man and woman can't abstain from having sex, from to marry, then to burn. Moving on. We're not going to debate that. Okay. Get that B up or down. Now, G, gay, we're all happy. So let's just be happy and merry. Okay. So the holiday season. So let's just be gay and happy. So so that handles the L, that handles the B and the G. Now, the T, President Trump said on day one, he's going to sign an executive action to where only male and female are recognized in these United States of America. And that's fact. So take that T out of there. And so the only thing they have left is the Q. And there's a Omega Psi Phi fraternity where that Q belongs to them. So now that the TQ has been dismantled, so be human, just like the rest of us. Get up out of that ethnicity, because as a black man, I don't care what you do with your body or who you love. Your race trumps your ideology. Your race trumps your organization. Your race trumps anything up until the point, because you've just been played by these liberal organizations that are ran by white women and white men to pretty much to be on their side, because they're not accepted by the conservatives. They are using us to pretty much support their agenda, because they're not welcome on the Republican side of the aisle. So just like in the slavery days, okay, Republicans wasn't killing and lynching people in the South. Those were Democrats. What happened to those Democrats? Okay, I'll tell you what happened. When Lyndon B became the president of the United States, when they assassinated John F. Kennedy, he said, I'm going to have those Negroes voting Democratic for the next 200 years. He said that. And then he said, bring in the Negro leaders, the Dr. Kings, the NAACP, and all these organizations. And he pretty much said, I'm going to give them everything that they want, but I'm going to put them in a box and I'm going to destroy anything that they're trying to do. I'm going to add the Women's Live organizations to that. I'm going to add the all the other minority groups. Okay, the Women's Live organizations, the ACLU, and all these liberal organizations with that. And I'm going to change their ethnicity, stir it up in a pot, and going to be on our side moving forward. And we just broke that curse this election from 1964. It lasted 60 years to 2024. We're done. And then what he did was what the Democrats are doing right now, war criminals. Okay, Vietnam War, Korean War, all of these wars. What did they do? They started recruiting men, put these black men in the military and put them in Saigon and North Korea and Vietnam and all of these places, and put them on the front line to go get slaughtered. And then while they was over there, let's go ahead and open yours and get them hooked on drugs. So when they come back, they will not organize or come together and all of that. So the assassin's bullet was so strong. The assassin's bullet was so strong that it changed the trajectory of history. And the trajectory of history was, if they did not assassinate John F. Kennedy, the world may have been a little different, because they assassinated his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, because he said at a meeting, what if we went racism? Because what if we went to heaven and God was black? And he got shot in the stomach going through the kitchen at the California primary after he won by a landslide. Okay, now fast forward to today, 2020. What did they try to do to Donald Trump? They tried to blow his head off. They tried to assassinate President-elect Donald Trump, because if they would have assassinated him, they would have on their democracy, because they have taken the mantra or the talking point from Benjamin Franklin and said that, their democracy, if they could keep it. So they're trying to keep their democracy, which is preserving, one of the worst eras in American history, which is preserving one of the worst eras in American history. So we just survived the worst era in American history. So now it just stands one nation under God. So now we're back to a God-fearing republic. Now that the Democratic Party is on is on life support, and the black man and the brown man will not resuscitate. So they're going to perish with the party. So now you're going to see individuals from the grassroots perspective lead the charge and take that Constitution. Okay. That letterhead, the top of the Constitution says, we the people. So now the people can work together. So from a human rights perspective, a humanity perspective, from a working and middle class perspective, we're going to hold this sitting president, President Trump, accountable, and we're going to fight and work for him to basically sign into law from an executive action perspective. We don't even want this to be an act of Congress. From an executive action perspective, no tax on tips. That's going to help the dancers and the waitresses. No tax on overtime. That's going to help anybody that has a 9 to 5, that's a hardworking individual. That's going to help you start putting money away and start saving cash. Okay. And thirdly, not least, to help, our baby boomers, no tax on overtime. So if no tax on your Social Security insurance benefits. So if you are a recipient of SSI, if you are a recipient of Social Security, you just got a 20% raise. And from a month perspective, that's a 40% increase since you guys get paid twice a month. That is a 40% increase on the bottom line. What can you do with that extra cash? What can you do with it? Think about it. This is how it works when we are a republic. Okay, he said it best, and that was Benjamin Franklin. This is a republic if we can keep it. So now by force, it has become a republic. And not only is it a republic, it's a God-fearing republic, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. So now we can get to work. Okay. And it is what it is. So I got some comments. Yes, Social Security Project 2025, he's going to cut. And let me see here, Joe, I have to sit back and say that's been debunked. And that is a bald-faced lie. It's a lie. See, one thing the Democrats do, they use fear-mongering and scare tactics, just like the KKK did in the South when they invented themselves after the Civil War to keep newly freed slaves in check. They used lies. But see, back then, it was illegal for the slaves to read. But now they're highly educated, and we're not going to let these lies go on. He's not going to cut anything. And let me tell you this, Joe, there's more white individuals on Social Security that actually are registered Republicans than Democrats. Let's be honest with yourselves. Now, don't fall for the okie doke and all these talking points and these lies that they put out there. He's not going to cut. That's literally impossible. Okay. Only thing that can be changed has to go through Congress, and he's not going to sign executive action on that. Just be honest with yourself, because according to, and I'm talking to Joe, basically say he's going to cut the Department of Education. Okay. That turned out to be a lie because he just nominated the Secretary of Education, and I believe her name is McMahon. Okay, so that's another lie. So in terms of the Project 25 is over here, let's talk about Project 2025, Joe, and I need you to stick around, and I'm going to have a conversation with you. It's not, let me see, your worth, it's not an argument. Okay, so I'm talking to you, Joe. We don't argue, we don't even debate. We have cohesive conversation because iron sharpens iron. So I'm talking to Joe right now, and I'm on Project 2025's website, Joe. So I'm gonna educate you right now because the liberals lie, and they've lied to the people in their program. So now it's time to undo the deceit. And flat out on Project 2025's main page, okay, the transitional project. They got an article by the USA Today right at the top. You can see it behind me. Project 2025 is an effort by the Heritage Foundation, not Donald Trump. And it's been fact checked. Okay, let me read even further. And I'm talking to Joe right now. Project 2025 is a historic brought together by over 100 respected organizations across the conservative movement to take down the deep state, which is the Democratic Party, and return the government to the people. What the Constitution says, we the people. It is its mandate for leadership, the conservative promise, published in April 23, is a product of more than 400 scholars and policy experts from around the country. The book offers a menu of policy suggestions to meet our country's deepest challenges and put America back on track, including, and go through the bullet points. And I ordered my book. I ordered mine. It's on the way. And we're going to talk about it. But the 7 bullet halves on this website, and Joe's still there. So this is for Joe. The number 1 bullet point on their website is to secure the southern border finish building the wall, and deport illegal aliens. How many individuals in the United States have a problem with that? I don't. And most Americans as well. Okay. Because we need to secure our southern borders. No difference than having fences around our own personal property. Okay. Number two, de-weaponize the federal government by increasing accountability and oversight of FBI and DOJ. Okay. That's not a bad thing as well. Because if you did not know, the famous Ben Crump, the lawyer or the attorney who represents the George Floyd family, and they just got a big win, he's representing the daughters of Malcolm X, and they're suing the FBI and the DOJ, literally, which they're suing the federal government for the assassination of their Malcolm X. Okay, so de-weaponize the federal government by increasing accountability and oversight of the FBI and DOJ. So now, if they lose that case, it is a proven fact that the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, the NSA, all these organizations are suspect. Okay. So de-weaponizing them and having oversight is a good thing. Number three, unleash American energy production to reduce energy prices. I know without shadow of a doubt, we want, to pretty much have, gas prices go down. And when he talks about energy, we talking about heating, cooling, all of that. So why is it that this great nation is purchasing foreign oil to enrich foreign nations and foreign lands when we have our own resources here? And if we unleash the American energy production, then the cost will be, reduced by the American citizens, which is a good thing. Number four, cut the growth of government spending to reduce inflation. 90% of exit polls, be he a Republican or a Democrat, no matter who you voted for, said that they voted and cast their ballots because, of inflation. And this election came down to not abortion. It came down to inflation, immigration, inflation, immigration. That was the main catalyst of it. Okay. Number five, make federal bureaucrats more accountable to the democratically elected president and Congress. So Project 2025 is saying they don't want to have this fake parliament having the left side of the Congress fighting against the side of Congress and all that. They want them to have accountability to the elected president and the Congress. So accountability, meaning it opens the door for grassroots organizations such as, the organization board that I chair, is to pretty much hold the presidential elect the president and the Congress accountable. So President Trump ran on the campaign trail. He said no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on social. So we're going to make sure that we get him to do it, sign an executive action to do that, because it will just help the American people, especially in the Joe Biden Harris economy of today. So number six, improve. And I'm talking, this is Project 2025. Number six, improve education by moving control of funding of education from DC bureaucrats directly to the parents and the state local governments. What's wrong with that? I am a supporter of school choice. Okay, because here in Los Angeles, we have a dire problem in the public school system. We have a dire problem in the public school system. So if you have a gifted who happen to, by default, not of his own or her own, live in a district that's failing, and you have a gifted student, by force, they have to go to the school district that they live in. So they're basically saying to the parent, if you can't afford to live on the west side of town, then you can't get a good education. But this situation that's Project 2025 is talking about is basically saying that that gifted individual can go to the school of their choice, and they'll take their state funding with them to benefit the school that they go to. And then number seven, last but not least, and I'm waiting on the book because I know, there are some things in there that's going to be suspect, but what they have on their website is not. And the number seven is to ban biological males from competing in women's sport. Ban biological males from competing in women's sports. Ban, I'm raising my hand, biological males, I'm raising two hands, from competing in women's sports. What is wrong with that? It is what it is. It is what it is. And Quinn said, hurry back, Joe. But the only individuals that want Joe to come back or Harris to come back, are they're literally sore losers. And this is why I gave, the individuals that's in my community a third party option, because we wrote in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because I had a feeling from a prophetic perspective that things were going to be different. I had a feeling that it wasn't, that she had a path to victory. As a political analyst and a political strategist, I saw no pathway to victory, but somehow, some way, they went into that slush fund and they bankrupt, the Democratic convention. And now what are we going to do? Okay, we got Kenneth in here. Trump knows nothing about Project 2025. It says it on their website. It says it right here. And I'm on their website. You see it right behind me. Okay, and it was fact checked by the USA Today. Project 2025 is an effort by the Heritage Foundation, not Donald Trump. And that was checked. But the Democratic Party, they want to use these scare tactics. They want to use the fear mongering and the race baiting to pretty much keep you in the dark, because their existence merely count on you to pretty much deny yourself, deny your God, to accept ideology, and to support their efforts. And their efforts is to take down the United States. Their efforts is to destroy the United States of America. All you got to do is look at their policies. Okay. When you look at the Republican side, as a nonpartisan independent, as a political strategist, I don't see nothing wrong with America. I, at this point in time, don't see anything wrong with making America great again. But when you have the Democrats fighting for DEI, diversity, equity, and, fighting for trans community, fighting for the lesbian community, fighting for the queer community, what is that? I thought we were all human. Okay, what does our sexual preference or our personal issues have to do with the masses? So this is why, this is what we call the great separation. And I'm in these comments, and Jeremy says, outrage, men can't compete in women's sports. If that was the case, I would go try for this, and I bet you I make the team as a 53-year-old man. Exactly. And then when they want to do the battle of the sexes, men and women, we're so different. I love the ladies. There's things that we could do that you can't do. And there's things that we can't do. We can't have children. We're not bleeders. We don't menstruate 1 month, so we're made differently, but we need to work together, because if the man is operating, the best that he can, and the woman is in her lane operating the best that she can, then we got the harmony which we need to bring together as a people. And it is what it is. So now we get a chance to see how this thing works. Okay. It's a republic. It's not a democracy. Okay. It's not a dictatorship. Okay. It will never be. It's to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. But the Democratic Party, they've been rebranding themselves, since 1865, when Abraham Lincoln emancipated the slaves. They've been rebranding themselves. Okay. So now this is the lost cause. And when Willie Lynch said, we could do this for hundreds, if not thousands of years, unless a phenomenon happened. And the phenomenon is social media. The phenomenon is the internet. The phenomenon is YouTube and, the streams like that, because you have individuals that put out good content. It's literally taken away from the scripts, taken away from the broadcasting, from mainstream media. And it is what it is. Okay, so now back to where we need to be. And Street Freak 420, back to the beginning, 1776. Okay, when that Constitution was completed, or at least it wasn't a Constitution at the time, it was called the Bill of Rights. And it was documented as a republic, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under all. And Brian put in, let me see here, Brian, there once was a man called Trump who said, deport them, every last chump, but the economy tanked, he sank, and he's broke with no wall, just a stump. And I agree with you. And that's what you call democracy, because the Democratic Party made sure that we did not secure the center, meaning build a wall, because the Democratic Party wants an open border, because they want to infiltrate every major urban city. They want to human traffic illegal immigrants, or whatever you want to call it, and put them in places in Democratic cities because they want to win an election. If you understand, the Democratic Party lost, okay, at the Supreme Court because they were to allow illegal immigrants to vote. So if you migrated to this country, you came through the border, you went down there, they processed you, they asked you where you want to go. I want to go to New York. I want to go to Chicago. I want to go to LA. They put you on a bus, take you there. They give you and give you money, especially in the state of New York, which almost went bankrupt. Okay, because Mayor Adams spoke on that. You know, give them, they living in hotels and 5-star hotels, and Chicago doing the same thing because they knew that they needed replacements, because the Democratic Party also says the same thing that Benjamin Franklin. It was a democracy if we can keep it. So they wanted to play this game and bring these migrants in and place them in these cities where they are elected officials, create sanctuary cities. So when it's time to vote, they'll get the votes of the immigrant. Okay, but they lost that on the Supreme Court level because voter ID in the swing states was big. You could not, was not a citizen in these swing states. And this is how Trump was able to win the popular vote as well as the Electoral College by such a landslide. And then now, when they blocked him building the wall or blocked him from doing what he said was going to do on the campaign trail and that little stump, now he has a House, which is Congress, and he has the Senate, okay? And he's a sitting president, and he already packed the Supreme Court, basically the last time he was president, okay, with Kavanaugh, okay? So now we'll see, because when Harris was on the campaign trail, it was CNN that made Harris look like a fool when Cooper asked her, so you support building the wall? So you support, and he pressed her, you can look it up. So he was basically under the impression, so you do support building the wall, because building the wall is a metaphor for having a strong border, because you should not be able to just come into this country unvetted, and just be able to go around and do what you need to do. You know, just like the young female who was actually murdered by an immigrant who came into this country from Venezuela illegally. He just got life in prison when he killed the white female from the University of Georgia, and she was out there for a jog in Athens, Georgia. So now, we have delivered ourselves from that. So now we need to work together and see, we need to, create what we call the win-win. We don't want to be arguing with the sides and all that stuff. And I see these comments as they're going in, and man, when you start throwing Leviticus up there, it's crazy. And said, I don't know the exact scripture, but I do know the one where it says, if a man lies with mankind as he lies with a woman, they've committed an abomination. And understand, there's only 3 abominations in the Bible. They have committed an abomination, and their blood should be upon them. This is why, to associate with the Democratic Party, to associate with these alt-right movements, the Illuminati, and these secret services, secret societies, this is why they do these rituals to men. If they want power, just like when Jesus was on Mount Zion and the devil came for him, and the devil told him, okay, if you bow down to me, I'll give you everything. And what Jesus said, away with you, Satan. So the human beings have cut deals with the devil. They've created wealth beyond measure, but somehow, some way they have sold their souls. And if they were to say, or to go against what they did, they're going to find themselves in some compromising situation. And the only one that I know on record that have escaped is Kanye West. It's Kanye West. So we got Terry in here. Let me hear. Nope. Y'all, let me see. Bed. Let me see here. You make your bed, you got to lie in it. It is what it is. You make your bed, you got to lie in it, because this is what happens. So Terry, Terry Perry, I'm sure you're happy, just like I am happy, that we have not cut no deals with no devil. We have not, did some compromising things, because like I said, if we did, believe me, they would have came for us already. We wouldn't even be able to communicate what we're doing today. And it is what it is. Okay, let me see here. Song word 87. How do you do a mass deportation and still follow the Constitution? Well, mass deportation, I wouldn't say, like I said, you asking me. Now, for me, there's no way we would be in a situation to massively deport anything, because we would have protected this great nation. And anybody that want to come into this country, you're going to have to accept this country for what it is, take an oath, law-abiding citizen. But since the Democratic Party has opened the door for mass, the migrants to mass migration, then the flip side of that is a mass deportation. So Constitution perspective, I'm gonna have to, try to find one supports that. But at the end of the day, it's I would say the 13th Amendment. Okay, because the 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor involuntary unless criminalized. So literally, if you migrated to this country illegally, you committed a criminal act. You have committed a criminal act. So if you committed a criminal act, then therefore you need to go to jail, okay, in which they do to the black man, which is a dog whistle politics for modern day slavery, or you get or you get deported. Because I know individuals that work with ICE, okay, and they are rounding up the people that's illegal migration. So the number one point for Project 2025, it says secure the southern border, finish building the wall, and deport illegal aliens. So if you came into this country illegally, based on the Constitution, you committed a crime. So they have an option to put you in jail, or to deport you. And that's what's going on. Let me see here. And let me see here. Terry, again, I'm not happy. You all messed up and you don't know yet. Let me see. Sit back as it finally dawns on. Oh, listen, Terry. God did not create the spirit of fear. And God is not the author of confusion. Okay, you're looking at a man who wrote in his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, as president. And to prove that fact, I lobbied my community. This is what we did, Terry. We put our faith, our trust, and our hope in our Heavenly Father. Some people call him Jehovah. Some call him Allah. Some call him in Hebrew Yahweh, because in Hebrew there's no J's. Some people call him Jesus. So there's no doom and gloom. So I'm going to go ahead and go on record. Okay, let me see where she's at. Okay, Miss Terry, and Terry with an I. So I'm assuming you're female. So it's okay. God got it. Okay. And sometimes, God does strange things to, show human beings, what time it is. Because my personal understanding, when Trump, turned to look at that monitor and those bullets start whizzing and clipped his ear, I think he made an atonement right there. Okay. Because how did he continue to do what he did? And if you look at that Bible, you look at perseverance, no pain without struggle. You look at David versus Goliath. The Democratic Party has branded himself as a metaphoric Goliath that was destroying anything, had no roots, because the Democratic side has no God. So Trump ended up being David in this situation. So now that David has defeated Goliath, okay, now it's time for the people to take the honors to cutting the head off of Goliath, which is the party, so it cannot exist anymore. If you go back and do your history, it was a Whig party. It was a Federalist movement, Federalist Party. It was the Democratic Republic Party. Okay. So now, we're down with Benjamin Franklin to the Republic, for which it stands, one nation under God, a God-fearing nation. And let me see here. Good time is pretty much common. And I agree. We, the people, unite. We need to come together. We need to come together. And Song World. Okay. So when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do you mistreat him? Okay. The foreigner resided among you must be treated as your native born. I understand that. But according to the law, if that foreigner broke the law, okay, based on this American Constitution, that foreigner is going to be treated like a criminal. Okay. But if that foreigner came into this nation and to this nation, okay, then that foreigner will get the respect and it's just due. So what I'm saying is we're splitting hairs here. We're on the same side, because the only way we could be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, is to choose to be partisan independence. And Song World 87, we could work together and make sure we do what we need to do. But we do know that individuals that come in here illegally commit crimes and do not be an society is hurtful to the community. and it's a slap in the face of the individuals that are already here. So the only thing that I have issue with is the fact that, we're not taking care of our own. Okay, but somehow, some way, we want to treat the foreigner better. But how can we treat the foreigner better if we're not treating the natives better? Okay, and that's the only part that's not fair, and that's the only part, where there's the I would say area. That's the part. So, keep tapping in, songwriter. If you didn't hit the like, it don't cost you anything. It helps the algorithm. Hit the notification, because we're going to work together as people. And I totally understand. And I know you got a big heart. And sometimes, there are sacrificial lambs out there, and being a black man, with the 94 crime and all that, my people has been, in some dire situations. And finally, for the first time in our lifetime, we get a chance to fix it. And once we fix it, have an opportunity to look out for the foreigners, because we're not Republicans, we're not Democrat, nonpartisan independents, which are classified as humanitarians. So if we could be a nation within this nation, then those foreigners can come to our consulate, they could come work with us, and we will give them special protections and make sure, because we're protecting the natives, and they could join the natives. So, it is what it is. And I appreciate your comments. Let me see here. Must be control. Let me see here. That's your face. We must control the flow and put, and put there where we need them. Okay. We must control the flow. We must document them. We must give them an opportunity to become citizens, because I remember, in the history books when, individuals were coming with the Irish, they was coming in to be civil servants for 70 years. And then they would get their freedoms, and they will work and pillage and help the land and help the country. But somehow, some way was such a good thing, they just went on, forgot about the agreement, and, made it slaves. And we're still operating, under involuntary servitude at the end of the day. We got P. I do agree. Americans have to come together at some point. And P, pray. That P is for pray. We are coming together right now. And I truly believe that we had an intervention with God, and he made sure that the person won that could help us push our narrative and push our agenda, because at the end of the day, the Bible says he made male and female. And at least right there, we can agree on that. But we're going to need to, disassociate ourselves with the two-party system, because if you look at the history of the two-party system, they just fight one another. And both sides says, if we can keep it, so the Democrats have their run, the Republicans have their run. And right now, America gets to have their run, because look at history. Look back in the 1800s when they would fight in the Civil War, the Unions versus the Confederates. Remember, they used to go out there and line up, 100 yards away from each other and just face each other and say, pull and shoot. I mean, that's the dumbest thing ever. So we were talking about, the history and the mindset of that, just fighting and killing and going against each other, because they clearly do not have, an understanding on how powerful we can be if we are, push a narrative and we become a republic, God-fearing republic, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. It is what it is. Let me see. Keep religion out of the Constitution. Well, First Amendment is, freedom of religion. So there's no way we can do that, because religion is government. So I'm basically, let me see here, Marlene. So Marlene, the Bible is a book of politics that contains religion. So the Bible is a book of politics. So in a sense of keep religion out of the Constitution, they're doing exactly that, and keeping religion out of the politics. This is why they can, send, range missiles and, long range missiles and, play the war games and the war crimes and, kill people and massively incarcerate. Because if you put religion in that aspect of it, and I'm a spiritual person, I'm not a religious person, but from a spiritual perspective, I love my neighbor as I love myself. First, I put God. I love God with my heart, mind, and my soul. Secondly, I love my neighbor as I love myself. So therefore, I'm forced to love. Okay. And it's based on my spiritual component. So in a sense of the Constitution, we do have freedom of religion. And Just as a side note, I just got a notification that Bitcoin is almost 100,000. It's $99,000. And the only reason it's doing this is because of, President Trump being in office and rocking with Elon Musk. But I'm going to get back to it. So let me see here. No, we're not. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Okay. How any Trump policy is going to make America great again. Well, first of all, as a nonpartisan organization group that's aligning itself with presidential oversight, okay, we're going to make sure on the campaign trail that he keeps his word, and he's going to sign an executive action. And I'm talking to Kenneth Barr, and that's number one. This is the first step. He said no taxes on tips. So we're going to make sure executive action, no tax on tips. And we're hoping it's just one bill, not three, but one bill, no tax on tips. That was a campaign talking point, and a lot of people believe that. So it's for the nonpartisan groups to push the narrative and agenda, because no tax on tips will help the waitresses, will help the dancers, will help anybody who relies on tips. Okay, anybody, just say, for instance, if you work for Grubhub or any of the food services that deliver food and they give you the tip through the app, you won't be paying no tips on that. If you're a dancer, if you are a waitress, you don't have to pay tips on that. And number two, making America great again, is he said no tax on overtime. So if you are a wage earner, you just got a 20%. Well, if you're a wage earner, no tax on overtime, meaning you get a chance to strategically work overtime and pretty much start saving up your nest egg. That will help the middle class, the working class. And number three, to help America great again. And as a nonpartisan lobbyist think tank organization, A Better Black America, we're going to make sure that he keeps his campaign promise. Okay. It was a campaign promise. We're going to make sure that he does not tax SSI benefits, Social Security. So any recipient of SSI or any recipient of Social Security just got a 20% raise or 20% increase on their checks, but it's a 40% increase from a monthly perspective because they get paid twice a month. So that will be, putting us on the right path. And we're also seeking a constitutional amendment to amend the 13th Amendment, meaning ending slavery and mass incarceration in this nation. So that would actually make America great again. And like I said, I'm not even a Trump supporter, donor, or anything like that, but I do understand that this country has just survived one of the worst eras in American history. And this country is in a position to be a republic, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. And I believe that we are going to keep it that way because it's only one race in the human race. And as nonpartisan independents, we're literally classified as humanitarians. And as humanitarians is what we call the win-win, the win-win. Okay, and let me see here. X Adventure, as a black man, how do you reconcile the Bible giving the okay to slavery? Okay, well, short answer to that, I do not reconcile. Okay, boom. This is why there's only one God. And this is X Adventure. Okay, X Adventure in the Bible. Okay, the Egypt slaves and all of that. But in the sense of us being in modern history right now, how do we reconcile? I just mentioned that we just delivered ourselves from the worst era in American history, the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of mass incarceration. That's the Democratic Party. No debate. That's fact. Okay. But in the Bible, it says in the book of Genesis, okay, it says in the book of Genesis, and I believe it's 15:3, it says the children of Abraham. Okay. That's Jesus Christ's lineage. The children of Abraham will be stolen from their land. They will dwell in a foreign land and will be casted as slaves and duly oppressed for 400 years. And the continuous says, I, God, will punish the oppressors and they should come out with great wealth. And right now, we're done with that because the 400-year biblical prophecy just expired in August of 2024. Because on the 360 calendar, if you document the transatlantic slave here in America, the year was 1619. So subtract 2019, 1619 from 2019, that's 400, but we on the 365 calendar. But if you take it to the 360 calendar, it's now. So now the reconciliation comes with cash payouts, with a constitutional amendment, which will free up the Freedmen's Bank Bureau, which Abraham Lincoln put away $8 million for the newly freed slave. So now think about that, $8 million interest to this day. So you're talking about some, some capital, some reconciliation, some cash payouts. And then to double down with and justify the Bible, it basically says the same thing in Acts 7 and 6. So it's in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And it says the children of Abraham will be stolen from their land. They'll dwell in a foreign land. And I'm going to paraphrase. The children of Abraham, will be stolen from Africa, will dwell in America, and will be casted as slaves for 400 years. I, God, will punish the oppressors. So now we have to leave our oppressors alone. We cannot rock with them. We cannot ride with them. We cannot support them, because how is God going to punish the oppressors if we with them? So if Exaventure and myself is hanging out with the oppressor, God can't punish them because he don't want to punish us. So if we deliver ourselves from that side, then it is what it is. And when you talk about reconciliation and atonement, Gavin Newsom gave a formal apology, and we will get the Proposition 6 passed on the midterm in the state of California, which ends slavery in the state of California. And it aligns with the federal effort or the national effort to amend the 13th Amendment. And if President Trump signs executive action to amend the Constitution and to take the criminalization clause off of the Constitution, this is crazy, because he will be, the best president in American history over George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. And I can't believe that the Democratic Party, so hard to change our genders and create, the alphabet society and create, all of these other things, instead of championing God's people, because the children of Abraham is Jesus's bloodline. And this is the blood that goes through our body today. And this is why they have issue with us. And this is why the Democratic Party fought so hard to control us, because without us, there will be no them. And it is what it is. So, man, listen, time is of the essence. And I got to make a move right now. Let me see here. Hit the likes, hit the notification. Because we're going to be going up, because apparently the platform is growing. I appreciate the new subscription, the new subscribers. And, we're going to keep on talking about it. So I can't answer all the comments, but we're going to create a situation where we can actually talk about it. And it is what it is. Brian Kelly just put in, he said no more taxes on over. And we're going to make sure that happens. No more taxes on tips and no more taxes on SSI insurance. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing today. So at the end of the day, God is amazing. I got to get up out of here. And let me see here. Donald Rizzo, what we talking about today, brother? I think, I'm about to get up out of here, go back to the front. And we was talking about that Project 25 and the path moving forward for humanity. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Y'all take care. This is your man, Bushan Glover. Until next time. And thank you for tuning in to A Better Black America TV on YouTube. Peace out.